A way of life. Hope everybody's having a good week so far. Just wanted to come on here to talk about Venus and Taurus, conjunct Uranus and Taurus. When Venus is in her home sign, all things ruled by Venus are in harmony. Venus rules love, harmony, beauty, anything related to the five senses, art, sex, and romance. Um, this is a shift. This conjunction happened on Sunday, just before the Virgo full moon, super full moon, um, into Monday. But because it happened with the full moon, it's kind of been, um, expanded till like Thursday. You probably still be feeling this energy by Thursday. So, this is a shift because Venus was in Aries, which is its opposite sign. So this is like maybe in partnerships or relationships, you probably been arguing about something and not seeing eye to eye for quite some time, like a good week, right? And and it just really just intensified throughout that week. And then, people were reacting without thinking things through, um, you know, saying things you probably didn't mean and threw a fit. And then, not talking for another week. It was pretty intense. Um, Especially I did like a few other videos, not videos, like blog posts about all the different transitions Venus was going through while she was still in Aries. So this has been intensifying for like throughout the whole month. And so now with this shift, you have the talk, you make up, and have, crazy makeup sex, right? This is what that energy is. Um, for others, it could have been that you were super busy. It doesn't have to be a fight, but there was, opposition, right? So it's two opposite sides, right? So you're being pulled away, right? So other people could have been really busy and not. I mean, even if you live in the same house, you get home like those small talks. It's just, it was just a fucking day. Um, not really getting to talk about your day, maybe like how you would used to. It's just kind of a passing by, or it could have been literal, right? Where, maybe your partner travels a lot for what they do, so they wasn't home. For the last month or so, and it's just been really hard because you guys wanted to see each other. Maybe you check in, video chat by phone, text, whatever you do to check in, and that didn't really happen so much. So it was intensifying your desire to have that connection with your person. um And so, of course, when you finally come together, you're like magnets, can barely keep you guys away from each other and you get it on, right? Um, I'm really trying to, um, I really wanted to bring this up and talk about this conjunction specifically because Venus also rules money. It rules the second house, which is trading. Taurus, this is what Taurus rules the second house. Venus is ruled by Taurus. And this is all the stock market, right? So if you take it outside of, even though Venus rules all kinds of partnerships, relationships, contracts, business, um, you can begin to see with just that storyline how, I think I had mentioned a little bit in my Virgo video that, the stock market is kind of being caused by fear. Um, and it's between, I don't know why I want to say Saudi. It could be Israel. I'm getting them mixed up for whatever reason, but one of the two and Russia are having this kind of relationship dynamic, this opposite Aries energy where, you know, um, it's causing the stock market to, go out of whack, right? On top of that, you have the coronavirus. So people are being kind of ruled by fear, which is affecting the stock market. And you can see the different changes through the different aspects of the astrology. Um, I just wanted to like point that out and make it really clear, between the different relationships on what's happening. It's very interesting, to make that dynamic, to make that connection. Again, like I said in the Virgo video, the stock market will start to kind of fade, but with the full moon, it being a super full moon, again, this energy is being amplified. On top of that, as I go through this and continue talking about the different aspects for Venus and Taurus, conjunct Uranus and Taurus, Uranus is an erratic, kind of up and down, unexpected changes kind of energy. And I think was it today or yesterday? I don't know how many people follow the stock market, but um, it went up really high. Like I think Trump had made a comment about doing something with the taxes, and it went up. And then by the end of the day, it was back down again. It was crazy. It was like this roller coaster. That's Uranus energy. And as I begin to go through and explain it, you can hear the how the energy is affecting the stock market, right? It's crazy. Again, how sometimes astrology can be so literal, but I just wanted to point that out, a little side note. Um, but with this Uranus energy, seeing as you can expect sudden, unexpected, disrupting, um, ecstatic, electric. Uranus rules electricity, like shocks, events, and your relationships. Uranus is erratic, shock. Again, Uranus disrupts norms. Um, it's eccentric, sudden surprises, and is going to awaken um, Venus ruled things. So Uranus is also a generational planet. So all these changes and things that are coming up now are to get you to um, think. Sometimes, unfortunately, things have to happen to jolt people out of um, what Virgo was, that super full moon, what Virgo was all about, your daily routine, your hygiene, your health, your, a set structured way of doing things. It's not working, right? And I had spoken about this in January when I talked about that big stellium of energy that was happening. You have to understand, uh, what else? Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. Those are the three generational planets. What does that mean? That they are the longest transiting planets through all the 12 planets. You know what I mean? Um, so like Taurus is in Uranus until I think it went into Uranus 2018, and it'll be there until 2025 or 2023. Don't quote me on that, but it's like a 5-year transit. Same thing with Neptune. Neptune is in Pisces. That's going to be there until 2021. Don't quote me on that. But it's just more than 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? And Pluto. Pluto has been in Capricorn. I think that's like a 3-year transit. And these are things you can look up. You can simply go on Google and see how long, a planet stays in a sign. Just to get an idea of what I'm talking about. But just in saying that, as opposed to Mercury that happens every 3 weeks, it's it's a daily thing where that's something you can calculate. But those three planets, because it's such a long period of time, it's changing the molecular structure of whatever sign that it's in, right? So um, these changes this time around, because of the signs that they're happening in, especially during this full moon, with all the things that you're already seeing coming up, unfortunately, are we going to have a recession? Yes. But it's time, right? It's the time for it. People are ready for it, actually, probably excited for it. Because Trump is a businessman, believe it or not, whether you like it or not, change the dial when you think about who Trump is. But when it gets down to the science of it all, he's going to save small businesses because he's a businessman himself. That's something he's very passionate about, the best that he can. Right. But if we're still trying to do business in a way that is no longer working for us in this Capricorn kind of power and control way, instead of, for the people, which is this Uranus energy, I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter how good Trump is in that way of what I'm speaking. Um, there's just going to be more disruption until we get it right. That's what Uranus is here to do, and this is the age that we're moving in. So that's that's not even counting the 5 years that it's going to be in Taurus, the change that it's bringing. But that's a 25, right? 2,500 years. Like it's a longer transit. That's a whole decade we're talking about, right? So, um, you know, uh, this is really huge, right? This is not just about daily things that are happening. This is about bringing real serious change to be in the time, or aligned with the time that we are supposed to be with. So it has to make these kind of big situations to help us get out of this way of thought, belief, system that's no longer working for us, right? So, yeah. Um, also things ruled by Venus is dancing, singing, creativity, art, love, and romance. Um, Again, Venus also rules money, trading, um, or rather, the second house in Taurus rules money, trading. Um, Taurus is an earth sign, so the Taurus sign. It rules people of the land, And I talked about this again in the full Virgo super full moon video where I see Uranus as Captain Planet. So he's gonna come and he's gonna clean things up, and he ain't gonna be asking nicely. It's a disruptive energy. It's an unexpected disruptive energy. It's electric shock. It's gonna wake you up to make you do right by the land. Which I really find very interesting. And can't wait to see really what comes down the line from that, especially seeing as this supposed coronavirus is being caused by, this 5G thing, that'll come out eventually. You'll hear stories about it, or if you already know your phone, and I'm pretty sure you can look that up somewhere too. But, you know, uh, again, you can already begin to see with this energy, the stock market is going to continue to fluctuate. Money, the way we think about money, the way we are trading, especially China has a big role in that. There is no surprise to me that this coronavirus is happening with China. and they're pretty much body slamming everybody right about now. They've completely taken over. Um, there's a reason for that. Whether it's good or bad, whether it's right or wrong, who's what side, that part I don't know. But quite frankly, it's going to change for the foreseeable future. It kind of it kind of reminds me of the drug dealers who begin to take over territory that wasn't originally theirs. Don't laugh at me. That's just how I'm thinking about it. Chinese was getting too big. They got too ahead of themselves, and they need to have several seats. Somebody's putting them in their place. So go figure. And that's just that. Uranus is inventiveness, technology, and progress. Again, this is a generational planet. So all these changes that are being made are going to have, every time these transits hit any of the planets that were connected to the that stellium in January, over the next period of time that they're in that, you're just going to continue to see the changes come up again and again and again until we get it right. So this is a future forward change, with relationships, partnerships, the way we do business, love, values. Taurus rules your value system. It's time to change the way we see things. So Uranus is about freedom and experimentation, and uh, this can be bad. This is not always a good energy to have, or behavior rather, to have with like your traditional marriage, romance, and relationships, because it brings disruptions, love affairs, polyamorous relationships, eroticism. um, um, I talked about this when I did the Aquarius new moon, I think it was. um, I think polygamy is going to become huge in this age of Aquarius. I think we are going to find ourselves with less options. We, meaning quote unquote straight people, are going to find ourselves with less options and experimenting more. It's going to completely change the way we think about relationships. Point blank, period. Don't like it, like it. It's not going to be everybody. If it's not your story, good for you. For a pretty good big amount of people, especially these younger kids coming up, I'm telling you right now, they're either going to become some kind of, their sexuality is going to change. They're going to be very flamboyant. This energy rules flamboyancy. I think more men are going to become out more. The prison system has completely screwed up a lot of men. Anybody who's done time for 5 years or more, and a good portion of people, they are changed forever. I've worked in the prison system. I've heard a lot of stories. I have the right to speak on that. That's a fact. Deal with it. Don't like it, change your reality. Men are the last people on this earth who want to go and seek help. And even when you do, it's hard to be honest about it, because those things are not being talked about. It's very in the dark. And the moment Pluto and all these planets that are in Capricorn change into Aquarius, I'm telling you right now, those things are going to come up for discussion. They're either going to come up for discussion and be dealt with, or they're going to come up for discussion and they're going to come out. You understand what I'm saying? Pluto rules sexuality. It's going to be a very interesting time. I think the gay, lesbian, I don't know the acronym you want to call it, LGBT. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I have no problem with any kind of people. But that group, I think, is gonna become bigger. It's gonna, like I said, it's gonna become out more. It's going to become mainstream. Um, I think there's going to be LGBT president. I think they're going to be the new politics. That's just my personal opinion. That's not in the astrology. However, it is ruled that energy is ruled by Uranus. Point blank. Period. So the possibility is there. It's great. So, um, but not everybody's closed minded. Not everybody is into traditional relationships. So, um, uh, I don't know. I think, um, experimentation and being free or having some level of freedom can also be balanced, right? It doesn't have to be a negative thing. Um, on the opposite side of that, you can use that to rekindle relationships, or people who maybe have been sexually harassed at a very young age will break free and be able to have the best sex that they've ever had for the first time ever. Um, Anybody who's been sexually suppressed in any kind of way, this energy could also be, a time for people like them to have that opportunity to know for the first time and maybe forever, ever, to experience what it's like to really have good sex. And kudos to those people. Again, it's good for rekindling love again, just for people who are workaholics, and don't really know how to emote. This kind of energy is good for those certain circumstances. Um, it can bring back the spark again. Uranus is electricity. So it can shock you back, or a spark. It's simple. This could also be the breaking free from something, like um just breaking free from something, but you lie, cheat, and steal to get there. Or you desire something really beautiful, but it doesn't really last long. Uranus in this way is in relation to Mercury, as it's considered the trickster. It can also be known as the trickster. I think that there's I don't know if you follow like the gods, the story of the gods. I think it's Prometheus rules Uranus, and he's the one who stole the fire. So that storyline somehow could be playing out in your life, right? And that goes for any of the signs whenever, even though I might not be talking about it in the astrology, but if you do the research and you look up, what signs are related to the gods, somewhere, somehow in your life, that storyline could be playing out in your life. That's actually a dope story, by the way, too. So, there's also some rebelliousness in a social setting, unusual expression of style or beauty or sexuality, like I was talking about. Um, this can be about women empowerment, and having a social setting and bigger conversation about that. Um, and again, that energy of breaking free from any of these things too. On the opposite side of that, it could be just breaking free from any social norms and saying, I don't want to do that anymore. Um, this is a good time to start something new. Just be careful for, being attracted to anything flashy, flashing lights, like bright, the peacock feather. It's springtime, right? So everybody's got their bird call, and it's just that time of the year, okay? Um, and know what you're getting into. Don't fall for the bright lights and the flashiness, and then there's no substance behind it, right? It's just that type of energy where something could start really fast and then end just as fast. Um, there could be a high need for social stimulation. Of course, it's going to be nice how people are going to want to be out and feeling good and feeling the warmth and being under the sun. I know certainly when we had that one day, what was that, Monday? It was like 70 degrees. Oh, I was in heaven. I didn't even want to go in the house. Um, this could be liberation from vanity. Same situation, somebody, because Venus is like, can be like overzealous. Like, I'm cute, I'm pretty, and I always have a mirror, and I always want to like do my things. But underneath there could be some insecurity, right? They're hiding under this vanity or this facade that they are beautiful and they really believe that, and 9 times out of 10 they don't. um, Uranus could come in and kind of shock somebody out of that and be like, what, I don't want to be that person anymore. I'm going to deal with my issues and figure out, what it is about me that why I don't feel beautiful, and have some revolutionary um, you know success and getting through something like that, right? It could be an erotic breakthrough in that same kind of way. Again, like, somebody hasn't really, really, really had sex, or the difference between sex and love, right? If we're throwing words out there and being politically correct or whatever. Love making as opposed to just having sex, or not having any sex at all for the first time, actually experiencing that on a level where it can be felt for a real purpose, right? Freeing, feeling socially disturbed, like the weird person who blurts out just like super unappropriate sexual slurs. They are just sexually disruptive, or that kind of foot in mouth person who just always just says the wrong thing in a very social setting, where there's supposed to be some kind of what's the word I'm trying to use, like like maybe like a business party, right? And you got people just dancing all provocative, and it's not professional. This is not a freaking club, dude. There could be a lot of that going on. You know, it's mating season, guys. I think that's what I'm gonna name this video. Um, and I think anything spiritual and otherworldly and provokes spiritual awakening, but it's electric and sensual, like tantra or dressing really provocative. Um, it could also be like church girls breaking out from that Saturn rule, right? You got to dress this way, you got to do, right? Um, but, there's a fine line between that, you just got to make sure that, you are dressing freely and expressing yourself, for you and who you are, but make sure that, you're not doing it so provocatively that you're bringing in the wrong energy, right? That can really screw you up emotionally. And you start wondering why, you're not finding the right mates and um, all that type of stuff there. So just because this happened during the Virgo super full moon, it's the Virgin Mary. That's what Virgo represents. So I always think of Jay-Z and Beyonce because Beyonce's a Virgo, and I think she is the perfect representation of that, right? Um, she knows how to act in public, but if you've heard side stories about Beyonce, she's a whole different animal in her personal space. And to be quite frank, whose business is that? Right? That's like the type of balance you want to have. People can say whatever they want to say about you, but if they've never seen it and they're just hearing stories, to be quite frank, you know, that's their problem. Um, you know what I mean? But having you just knowing how to be and dress professional when you're in a professional setting, socially when you're in a social setting, and when you're at home and you're in your own business in your life, you do however you wish, and that's what this is kind of saying. So, I really just wanted to get this out because Venus has been going through some changes right now, and I was hoping to really be able to give you some commentary so you can kind of see how this might be playing out in your life and also globally in the world. So I hope this information was helpful. Peace.